if I only had, I don't know, like a few hours per week, what do you think I should learn first? As somebody who doesn't know how to build my own agents, is the Claude or my code or my directions not going to be as great because I don't have this direction writer agent?
Well, yes, but eventually then you could install that too. Don't let any of the things that you may not have right away or not access to right now or you may not understand sort of stop you. So is there a risk in connecting your email? I would say obviously, like most things, there is a risk that what if you misconfigure something and then it is gonna reply to somebody that you don't want to. Obviously, you could have certain human in the loop steps where you just ask it to save it in the drafts. That's how even I tried it. But then again, there could be an email that is specifically configured as an assistant, and then you don't have to worry too much about that. But I mean, it could be more of a philosophical question as well. Like for me, most things don't matter, and they're not going to have like an irreversible impacts. I mean, might as well just continue to try things and see, with the good intent. If you do that, I mean, people are not going to be. Even an example for my HOA. So I connected my WhatsApp with this and and there was this homeless person that was in our community and someone was talking about it on the WhatsApp group with my homeowner association. And it was funny because that agent then replied, oh, you know what? There are two sides to it. And maybe that person's in need. And also, yes, it could be too scary. And it just started talking and it was long responses too. I mean, good responses because Opus, back then it was 4.5 is good. So yeah, the responses were good, but hello, like, it obviously shouldn't have responded like that. And then it just replied to every single message. It said completed. So yes, something like that could get misconfigured. It probably happened because I was having a longer coding session and I was just working on it really late into night and didn't review the code before checking it in. And that's a very fundamental thing. Like if you just understand what it's doing, you could ask it like, how is it configured and what does it mean? And then you could learn about some of those skills. So no, there's not a whole lot of risk, especially if you just have those gates, you have those checkpoints and human in the loop, and you're the one who's just doing the final review of the drafts. But different people have different risk profiles. So you choose what suits you the best and what's not going to have impact to your business.
So let's say I want to use Claude Code or Claude for my emailing. Oh, I guess, how did you configure your program, your processes to really make it great at the task that you wanted? So I guess just thinking about my email, let's see. Does it help with sorting your email? If so, how did you teach it to sort? Is it good at replying to emails? If so, how did you teach it to respond? Could you give some insights into that?
That's a great question. And let me just go ahead and show you some of my setup.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to give you a good idea of what it is and how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And this is just one example of how you could set it up. But then there are different ways that you may want to configure it. So see here if I can find, yeah. So this is my Claude Code. And then within Claude Code, I have, as I mentioned, my OpenClaw. That's a Mac Mini that's set up in my office. It's running all the time. I've connected it with Tailscale. And again, it's not a fancy word. It's just a simple app that lets you connect your MacBook with the Mac Mini in a very secure way. So I think the editors can remove the IP address from here, although there's a password, of course. So then there's a layer one. That's the Claude desktop. And then the Claude Code CLI, which is always running. So I have it authorized. And what happens is, and for this as well, I just gave it a command, to describe this to me. Then the layer two is the Memex, which is sort of the second brain. And this system has sort of three parts. As you can see, it's got all of my email stuff and the calendar. So that's important. And I connected that through Google OAuth app. And it's, again, very simple. It may sound fancy initially, but you can just ask it, it's going to tell you. And then I indexed a lot of the emails, like for the last year or so, I indexed those emails and all the new ones ran a cron job to do that on a daily basis. Then the Google Calendar events from both accounts, Claude recordings. So Claude's my device that I always have on me. And I spilled some chocolate on it, so it won't charge right now. This is my second one that I broke, but I have another charger. So when I get back to my office, I'm going to be able to fix that because I'm traveling right now. And then, of course, the Loom transcripts from the archives, and that's super helpful as well. And what I do is I just don't store those transcripts, but then I convert those to vectors. And what that means is like I already pre-process it so that it knows what to extract from it. So part B is like
So
I said, the vector.
for the audience, if we wanted just our email or Gmail, we could do just that. We don't have to do our
Totally.
calendar. We don't have to do Plod. If we don't have it, we don't have to do.
I mean, you'll just give it more capability. And again, this is the OpenClaw setup. So this is a little bit different. But yeah, with Claude as well, the basic things of send this email, do this, do that. It could do that if you give it the right permissions. Just to continue on that, so then you have the vector store, the journal generator. So the concept that I came up was like for each day, give me like everything that's happened and all the information that you can get, all the Loom recordings and all of the Plod recordings and all of my calendar events and everything, and build that context and create sort of a journal page for every day from the beginning of time. Look at the pictures as well that I have, and give it like an easy access right there. I haven't done the pictures part. So I've got a 384 dimensional embedding that's done here, and the journals are stored here. So there's like AI generated journals from July 2025. And, cost is important as well. So per journal is costing me just about 3 cents. And on a monthly basis, it's about $8, which is not too bad. And there are certain automations. So I have, email check, and then the calendar sync that happens at 7 a.m. And then at 9 p.m., there's the journal generation. So at the beginning of the day, you're getting all that information, and it runs via the OpenClaw schedule jobs. And then there's the third part, which is,
Could you tell us more about like the journal and why, I guess, what is it and what do you use it for?
Yeah. So I wanted to find a way to index a lot of the data that I'm generating, because I've been generating data, but I wasn't sure how I was going to use it. And a lot of my friends would also say, okay, well, you'll record it, but what's the point? I mean, I record every single meeting, I record, every conversation. So it's like, how are you going to use it? I mean, it sounds super excessive. So I wanted to find a way to actually build that context. So when I'm chatting with OpenClaw, it already knows. Right now, if I just say, hey, I mean, I want to plan out the next week, it already knows that I'm going to be in this country next week. And it has all of that context, and it knows my preferences, knows that my dad loves to go wander around, and mom likes more experiences that are, staying indoors or going in a taxi. So it has all those like built-in memory for it. And that's a good segue into, that's the third piece of it, which is Memex. And that is like where you could have a query done. So it just answers any questions. Now, why journal? Because how do you store it, right? I mean, a good way is from the beginning of time, like my time, when I was born, to all the way, like till today, it has context, but not everything is as important. So it has it in different layers where it is able to have better context for the more recent items. And some of it is already built into OpenClaw, but then you could, make it even better. And, the best way to really go about it is you can research, and whatever way of consuming information you have, you read articles or you watch YouTube videos. For me, I'm more of an audiovisual learner. So I have a lot of times I'm watching these YouTube videos. And while 5 minutes into the video, I would just take the transcript. And for that, you should have like this tool that just gives you easy access to transcripts. I know there's a native YouTube thing as well, but this one's even better. It just generates right then. And then I just take that transcript and I give it to my OpenClaw and I say, dude, learn what I can learn from this video and go ahead and create a skill. And I want to use everything that this guy is doing as well. And like, I want those things in setup, and first ask me before you go ahead and implement. So it gives me an entire plan, and I'm like, okay, I want this, this, and this. And by the time I'm finished watching the video, or sometimes don't even need to watch the entire video, I move on to the next one and find, all right, wow, this guy is using it really well. So like following the right people, getting that context, giving it to Claude Code or OpenClaw, and that's just really, really helpful. Similarly, there's like the copper data for the personal knowledge base as well. Go ahead.
So you're saying that you watch YouTube videos, find new skills, and then you take those transcripts and teach your OpenClaw or Claude those skills through the videos. Is that right?
You got it. Because the way that it works is even for Claude Code and OpenClaw, there are skills. So you could teach it anything. Like one of the ones that you would really be fascinated by is video production skill. So Vmotion is a really good open source library, and that was super useful. So now if I tell it right now, create a video for such and such, it's going to show you that. In fact, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So let me do that. And see, you would see like how I'm giving it command as well. I want to give an overview while I'm at this podcast and you're live for this system that I have for video production. So go to Copper Videos and give me a high-level architecture of how I'm using this and how it was set up. Just give it to me in brief. So I give it that. And see, it doesn't repeat stuff because I've got this nice agent that's installed for the voice. So it makes it perfect. It puts it in sentences. So if I just go ahead and give this command, it's going to go ahead and take a few minutes and get that going for us.
Quick question. So as somebody who doesn't know how to build my own agents, is the Claude or my code or my directions not going to be as great because I don't have this direction writer agent?
Well, yes, but eventually then you could install that too. Don't let any of the things that you may not have right away or not access to right now or you may not understand sort of stop you. Like do something and learn from it, and then you're going to really, get in it deeply. So like I said, if you don't have the voice stuff, I mean, there's a native one for Mac as well. And that's pretty cool as well. So I think you could just use that. So it looks like my VPN is preventing something. Let me just pause the VPN for 30 minutes. Sometimes for the authorization it can. And that's what you got to have the patience as well. Sometimes, for one question, it may take you a little bit and you're like, oh man, why is it giving it to me again? So you just got to continue to try and learn and, just learn how it's going to work.
So Arvind, you told the audience earlier you spent 6 to 8 hours per day learning about tech. I mean, I wish I had that much time, but I don't. If I only had, I don't know, like a few hours per week, what do you think I should learn first? Or do you have suggestions on like what information to find or what types of sources to look at?
Yeah. So yes, I do spend a lot of time on it. And it goes back to the earlier comment that I made. Like we're living in historic times. There has never been a time before in the history of humankind where there has been such a technology that has potential to just change and disrupt everything around us, the way we behave, the way we go about our daily lives. So it is, that kind of time. And that's why I'm like, well, I really want to come out ahead once, we're living in this new world. So that's why someone who's going to just put in a lot of effort over the next 2 years is going to have that significant advantage over the rest of the population. And if you're competitive and if you want to get ahead, then just analyze your daily routine. I meditate for a couple of hours, at least I try to every day. And the rest of the time I have these important meetings, that I do. But all other time, instead of watching Netflix, I don't watch Netflix or, for entertainment as well. This is my real entertainment where I'm like, okay, let's get curious and see what I can build here, or let's try to solve this problem. And that comes from sometimes meditation, like something that's just, there's no problem that cannot be solved if you give yourself like focused time for 2 to 3 hours. At least you can make good progress on that. And I have a very a lot of things that I continue to get myself in trouble with. So whether it's legal stuff, whether it's new partnerships or a trip that I want to plan. For all of that stuff, it can be just super useful. How do you go about starting? Like I said, step 1, install Claude Code, get that membership. No, actually, step 0, get a good computer, not, like a MacBook Air. So of course have Pro, at least have 16 gigs of memory. I have way more than that. And I think it's going to be very important that you're not stifled with the speed, and of course, get a good internet as well. Look who's talking, because right now my internet, because I'm not in my office, but my office internet's amazing. My home internet's amazing. But when I'm traveling, yes, I do get into some trouble there. But yeah, I think that's
Wait, why is more memory important for running Claude Code or, all these AI software?
Sure. So memory is, I'm talking about RAM. So it's the working memory. So let's say you have only 8 gigs and you have Chrome running and you have another process that's running, that's requiring 2 GB of memory. Then there's another process that's requiring 2 GB. So what you're going to feel is like, oh my God, all of the memory is gone, and it starts to become slower. But if you have more memory, that working memory, it's kind of like how we work as well, right? If you have more things, then you tend to forget. So if you give it enough memory, and then that's really going to determine the speed. Also, like think about having even the local models run for certain tasks or things that you may already figure out. Like you want to create videos, but you don't want to be paying like $20-$30 for a lot of those API costs. Then you could have a local model running, through Hugging Face or Llama. Olama is another tool that allows you to run different models locally, and I have that set up as well. At least I tried it, and it wasn't as powerful and not as good as Opus, of course. So that's why I haven't been using it that much, but I have that capability as well. And then in future, you'll be able to run some of these models like, with the lower number of parameters, smaller models, you should be able to do that.
All right. Well, thanks for taking us through Claude Code. Now, I guess other than LLMs, what are other tech tools or AI tools that I should really be aware of right now?
Lovable is awesome. I love it. I've given it a lot of money, and it's good because it generates a really nice UI. And when I tell it like, hey, I want Apple-like or Square-like design, Silicon Valley look and feel, and you give it right prompts or even like screenshot something that you like, then it has really good capability. And now even Agentic mode that it can give you those visuals. I have a website that I create.
What should a normal consumer use Lovable for?
For building websites, for landing pages, for the UI for your platform. So let's say for you, obviously you help people get into amazing grad schools. So then the tools that you have, or your website, or even the tools, do you want to visualize those tools? And there's a certain way that you want it to look when you want to explain it to your dev team. You could like actually play with it first, get that, and then you can communicate much better. So Lovable's good, and there are some other ones as well, similar to Lovable. Yeah, but that's one.
Wait, so my websites right now are built. My websites right now are built on WordPress. Could I build something on Lovable and then integrate it into WordPress, or is it more of like, hey, I'm going to tell Lovable, make it look like this, and then give it to my webmaster or my developer, and then say, replicate this on WordPress?
So short answer is yes. You could do all that stuff on Lovable. However, you would get some pushback. Like I got pushback from my, marketing head. He was like, oh, what about the SEO stuff? I'm like, hey, SEO is done here. Hey, no, the headers are not right. And how are you going to make changes and yada, yada. And a lot of it might be true, but you just got to be solution oriented and find a way. And that's what I did. Then I did create HopperVoice.ai. That's very good in terms of like the SEO is done, the tagging and all of that is there. So whatever the challenge, whatever critical feedback you get, you take that and you try to ask it and solve it. Like, what are the ways to solve that? And then that would happen. If you want to integrate with WordPress, I'm sure when you ask it, it's probably going to find a way to do that as well.
Got it. So the Lovable websites or web pages that you build off the shelf, it's not optimized for SEO. Is that right? Is that from your experience?
No, it is. You just have to tell it like, hey, I want to make sure it's SEO optimized. And then don't just start in Lovable. I have a comprehensive guide for creating Lovable prompts that I feed to my Claude. And then I tell it that use that to use the best practices. And how do you build that? You ask ChatGPT to do deep research, or you go ahead and watch a few videos and see which ones are the best, take the transcript, feed it back, and ask it to enhance it. I mean, another one that I've talked to you about is NotebookLM. I love it. In the last, 1 year, it has come a long way, and it's just super amazing, especially for people who want to learn
like, you know, through audio and video. It's really cool. You give it a lot of the sources and then you could chat with it. And then on the right, you have all these artifacts.
Yeah, I guess. Do you want to talk about NotebookLM next as one of the AI tools or tech tools?
Why not? Happy to share my screen on that. Let me first open it. So as you can see, like I had this podcast that broke a heart. This is my latest one. And then before the podcast, it's really wanted to make sure that I understand. So then right here, I just asked it like, hey, here's the person I'm having podcast with. Go ahead and do deep research. And then it did. Like, and I created a separate deep research report as well, as you can see here. So this is like a deep research that I did using another LLM. I try to give it, a lot of different sources. And then I asked it here as well. You could select like deep research here, and that was added to it. And then all of her previous podcasts and different episodes and all that stuff, even the YouTube videos, it took that. And once it had all this stuff, I was like, okay, give me a video for this. And actually, or this is a presentation, but it's you can create video, presentation, audio podcast, and architecture of doing the connected ecosystem, the discharge information bound, the documentation crisis, and here's how, the needs. I mean, all of this stuff. It talks about how, she's like she got this award and mechanism and the reach. Like it just gives you a good way to prep for anything that you want, especially in a visual way. So we'll skip this and we'll go to a different one. So what I also created was like this was a note interview protocol that I gave it. I created, what is this? A video? Yeah, created a video. It might take a minute to.
So you prep for a lot of your podcasts and through NotebookLM, is that right?
Yes, there's actually this video is going and it has all these beautiful charts and even like animated video. That's a new thing that's come out in it now. And then of course the audio one as well. And the audio can be interactive mode as well, so you could actually talk to it. And of course, many of you already know about this. But then here, give me logically the top questions that I should ask in the podcast with Rosa. So it gave me this, and then you could just take it and save it here as well. So a bunch of stuff that you can do.
Like other ways you use NotebookLM.
Yeah, like I
Because
said,
if we go back to people.
it was for fun as well. Then here, like the Tesla playbook. So this is when I was watching a video by the CTO of Tesla who was explaining his architecture and how he built self-driving and the recursive technique. And I was like, whoa, I need that too. So then I took this transcript of the video and I put it here. And then I asked it to sort of explain it to me. And I gave it to first my OpenClaw and Claude Code as well to then give me some more material, how it applies to me. And then I gave it here as well. So it just, I gave it the knowledge base here. And then the Tesla Copper playbook, this is what I came up with from Claude. So then I gave it that. And then I asked it to sort of explain it to me, what it is and how to use it. So yeah, you got to like do a lot of mix and match, take one LLM and produce this and take that and give it there. And then what I ultimately wanted was to, of course, convince my tech team on thinking like that. And that's what I was able to do and create certain documents. Then I was able to share those as well. But then before I share anything, I have to obviously go through it fully. And this is, NotebookLM helps me in going through whatever it is that I need to send it to other people. Like it's easy to create a playbook with all the context and, getting the YouTube transcript. But if you don't understand it, then what good is it going to do? And then you could convince your team much better and know about it much better. So
yeah, what I love about NotebookLM is that it synthesizes a lot of information and then it gives it to you in a lot of different ways maybe somebody could learn or visualize things. So I think it's excellent at that.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's what
Another tool you were talking about earlier was OpenClaw. And I know you started talking about it a little bit, but could we just back up and first talk about what is it? What do you mainly use it for? And then we could rehash some of the examples and use cases for it.
Totally, because there's a lot of hype about it, and a lot of people are like, hey, what's the big deal? You can schedule some tasks, you can do that in this, you can do that in that. I mean, so OpenClaw, claw means like obviously the claw, right? And it's claw because it just doesn't reply to you. It has claws, it has hands to go do things for you, right? So that's where it sort of comes from, like the claw. Now, why it is important or why it's revolutionary or how it changed, a lot of my working and why I got super fascinated with it was because even before it came out, I was searching for a solution like that. And here's the problem that I was trying to solve. So when I discovered Claude Code, I was like, wow, this is amazing, but it's very hard for me to consistently continue to put in the hours on just Claude Code so that I'm maximizing the token usage. Let me say it again. So if something is really amazing and it runs out of tokens every now and then, even on your max $200 plan, then what do? You're like, okay, well, that was the hour limit. And now there was the Thursday limit that I hit for the week. But there were many weeks when I did not hit the limit. And I wanted to hit the limit every single time, like right before it's time, right? So how do I do that? So I was like, well, there's separate accounts for like the web and then also Claude Code. And then, yeah, web hits limits as well. So I was like, whatever I'm doing on web, I could also create a program like a Mac app where usually I was doing research on a particular topic, or I would feed something and I'd say, give me a research report on that. So I could read it or feed it to, NotebookLM. So then I was like, I was building that tool already, but then I discovered this, and this is exactly what it does. Like, it helps you maximize your Claude Code. Now, many people may be like, I don't need to maximize my Claude Code. Okay, sure, then maybe that's not for you. If you could do many of those things yourself or other tools that you could use. I really want to maximize the usage of my Claude Code, and that's why I use it. And of course, you can connect it and you can build its skills, and it has a soul. You could have multiple agents that are communicating with each other, that are doing meetings with each other and coming up with action items and on its own. So the main thing is the claw, right? Claw means like it has the ability to do stuff, not just tell you stuff, but actually do stuff for you.
Got it. All right. Well, thanks for explaining OpenClaw and its relationship to Claude Code. Now it all makes sense. Got it. Well, we went through a lot of different AI tools today, from LLMs to your favorite Claude, and then Claude extensions, I feel like Memex and OpenClaw. I guess, do you have any last words for our audience today, or any advice for me?
My advice is, I go back to the book that I read back in 2012. Wow, a long time ago. And that was 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. And it's all about action. It's all about, if you really want to do this, you got to act. So your first step, you got to do right now. Like, once you watch this, you got to go ahead and take the first step. And then the second step must happen before 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then the third step, and, something like that. And, the third step should happen by tomorrow. Like, divide whatever it is. If it is like getting Claude Code installed, if you don't have a good computer, like buying that computer, that has enough memory and that can run stuff. And then, just building an app or something, or, trying it out and connecting it to some of your systems and getting it some skills. So whatever it is that you're stuck on, like, divide it into 3 parts. Do one now, do one by 11 a.m. tomorrow, and then the next one by the end of the day tomorrow. And that's how you got to do it. Just go and act. That's my advice.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun.